want to ask you a little bit about Michael Flynn. At the end of this month, on September 29th, the date of the first presidential debate, a court in Washington is going to hear arguments from the Justice Department as to why they want to drop their charges against Flynn. And this has been very hard fought. But what he pled guilty to was lying to you about his contacts with the Russian government. And one of the things that you lay out in the book that I find eye-opening but also mystifying is that, he had been the head of the DIA. He'd been the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. He must have known that the Russian ambassador's calls would be monitored and that you would know what was actually said on those calls. And yet he repeatedly lied to you about what he said on those calls. Do you think that he was lying knowingly to cover up for somebody else? Do you know why he was lying? Do you have any insight into what happened there, given how weirdly this has gone in the months since?
Well, that's the key question that we had. It wasn't so much why General Flynn wasn't telling us the truth. It was whether or not he was doing that because of somebody, particularly the president, having told him or directed him to do that. We now know that prior to our interview with him, he had spoken to the president, who told him to kill the story that was in the Washington Post, David Ignatius column, talking about these conversations. He had had a conversation with his deputy, KT McFarland, about them. So this wasn't a surprise when we walked in. I can't explain why he didn't tell us the truth. And obviously he pled guilty to not one, but two different judges, orally and in writing. And so I don't understand why now the Department of Justice is seeking to withdraw this plea. I'm glad that the court is going to get to the bottom of it to get an explanation of what's going on with the various conflicting filings. But our concern was always and remains not so much about General Flynn and that call, but why he did it, and specifically whether or not there were others in the White House, including specifically the president, who had asked him or otherwise directed or influenced him to have that conversation.